ever scroll through Instagram and just think like, wow, how do they do that? I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about digital art.
Yeah.
You know, that world where like creativity collides head on with technology.
Yeah.
So if you're out there listening and you've ever felt that itch to turn pixels into masterpieces, well, you're in the right place, my friend.
Absolutely.
Today's deep dive, we're decoding the digital artist's journey, and to help us navigate this, we've got a mountain of insights, a literal mountain, from no other than RoleCatcher, the career gurus.
Oh, yeah. And they've got, let me tell you, they have a lot to say about this field. It's exploding, right?
It's huge.
It's absolutely massive. Just to give you a sense of the scope, we're talking something like 3,000 career guides,
Wow.
14,000 online resources.
No way.
And hold on to your hats, a whopping 120,000 practice interview questions,
What?
all dedicated to digital artists.
Okay, so that right there tells you this isn't some passing trend.
Nope.
This is a career path with serious staying power. So let's get one thing straight right off the bat. What exactly even is a digital artist?
Right.
I mean, is it just someone who's basically like traded in their paintbrushes for a stylist?
Right. Yeah. So RoleCatcher, they define it as a creative professional who utilizes digital technology as like a core element in their artistic process.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
It's not just about like knowing how to use the software.
Yeah.
It's about having that artistic vision,
Right.
that spark to really leverage what that technology can do.
Right.
It's like, think about it this way.
Right.
Michelangelo might have used a hammer and chisel,
Okay.
but it was his artistic genius that brought David to life.
Right.
Same principle here, just different tools.
Okay. So, I mean, so knowing your way around Photoshop, that's definitely a must.
Oh, yeah.
But you're saying that those traditional art skills, those fundamentals, they still hold weight even in this digital age?
100%. You can't escape the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Things like, what is it? Color theory, composition, understanding light and shadow. These principles, man, they're timeless. Like, it's just like, a chef.
Okay.
A chef needs to master those basic cooking techniques before they even think about experimenting with, like, molecular gastronomy or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same idea.
That totally makes sense. But what's funny is that RoleCatcher also, they highlighted some skills that I wasn't really expecting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, who knew that to be a digital artist, you need to be, like, an expert reader?
I know. It surprised me, too, at first.
Right.
But then, when you think about it,
Yeah.
digital artists are constantly like taking in information. They're, interpreting a client's brief, or they're researching some new technique, or maybe they're just trying to stay updated on the latest trends. Being able to like quickly grasp information, analyze it, that is absolutely crucial in this field.
Wow. I never thought about it like that. It's like being like an art detective almost.
Yes.
Piecing together all these clues to create something amazing.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
So you're building your skills, soaking up knowledge like a sponge.
Right.
When do you actually get to like call yourself a real digital artist?
Well, that's where the junior digital artist stage comes in. So you've put in the work, learned the ropes, and now it's your time to shine. You're stepping into the spotlight.
So less fetch me a latte and more let's make some art, finally.
Exactly. Yeah, RoleCatcher found that at this stage, you're actually given the responsibility to create digital artwork based on, provided concepts and direction.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you're being handed a blueprint, right? And then it's up to you to use your artistic flair to, bring that to life.
Yeah, I can imagine that takes a really delicate balance, though, because you have to showcase your own style, but still, obviously, you have to meet whatever the project requirements are.
Oh, for sure. One junior digital artist actually, so RoleCatcher, my passion for digital art drives me to stay updated, which I thought was really interesting. It really shows, that importance of always learning, always growing at this stage, right?
Right.
You're honing your skills, you're experimenting with techniques, you're just constantly pushing your creative boundaries.
So you've mastered the basics, you're finding your artistic voice, what's next? I mean, is it all like upwards from here? Like, is the goal just to become a senior digital artist?
Well, not necessarily. And honestly, that's what I think is so cool about this field. There are so many paths that you can take.
Right.
Some artists, they really thrive in a collaborative environment, whereas others, they might prefer the independence of freelancing. It really depends.
Okay, so let's say, for argument's sake, that our aspiring digital artists, they really want to climb that corporate ladder.
Okay.
What does that mid-level look like? What are we talking about here?
So this is where things get really, really interesting. Because it's a real turning point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're transitioning from being an individual contributor to actually leading and mentoring others.
Okay. So less about the pixels themselves and more about people.
Yeah. In a way, yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
At this level, you're leading and managing the production of digital art assets, which a lot of times that means you're overseeing the work of other artists.
Wow.
And you're also, you're collaborating with clients, you're collaborating with creative teams to develop those visual concepts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different skill set.
That sounds like a whole other skill set that you need to kind of bring to the table.
It is. It definitely is. One mid-level artist that RoleCatcher talked to, they mentioned, I am highly organized and skilled in managing multiple projects simultaneously, delivering high-quality artwork within, of course, tight deadlines. So, you don't just need the artistic ability. You've got to be organized.
Right, you got to have those project management skills to go along with the talent. Like it's almost like being the conductor of an orchestra in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that all the instruments are working in harmony.
Yeah, I like that analogy. I think that really captures it.
And what about that mentorship aspect that you mentioned earlier? Is that something that just comes naturally to most artists, or is that something that can be learned?
It really varies from person to person.
Okay.
But RoleCatcher actually found that a lot of mid-level artists, they genuinely love having the opportunity to guide and nurture, the next generation of artists. It's about sharing that knowledge, giving feedback, and just fostering this like really collaborative, creative environment.
Yeah. It's like that saying, each one, teach one. Passing the torch to keep the creative fire burning bright.
Exactly. But there's one more, I think, really crucial aspect of this mid-level that RoleCatcher just kept emphasizing, and that is this idea of continuously seeking opportunities to expand my skills and stay ahead of emerging technologies and advancements in the field.
So you're never really done learning,
Never.
even when you've reached a certain point.
Right, exactly.
You can't just rest on your laurels. You got to stay ahead of that digital curve.
Yeah. Technology is constantly changing. New software is coming out all the time.
Right.
And digital artists need to adapt to stay relevant, to stay, competitive.
Right.
But I think that's part of what makes this field so exciting. You're always learning something new. There's always something to explore.
And speaking of staying relevant, I mean, let's be real here for a second. The digital art world, it's competitive. I mean, it's really tough out there.
It is.
So how does our aspiring digital artist, how do they make sure that they stand out from the crowd? Especially when it seems like every other person on Instagram, has a digital paintbrush in their hand these days.
Right. And that's a really good question. And I think that's where RoleCatcher's insights become so incredibly valuable. I mean, they have a ton of advice on how to navigate, this really competitive landscape.
So give us the inside scoop. What's their secret sauce?
Okay. So first of all,
it's like that old saying, talent will out.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes talent needs a little help to get seen, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in a crowded field like this one.
Right. So what's the secret? How do you cut through the noise?
Well, RoleCatcher, they have this really neat tool.
Okay.
It analyzes job descriptions, those things that you're always reading online.
Yeah.
And it pinpoints the exact skills that those employers, they're actually looking for.
Oh, wow.
It takes out all the guesswork.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You can really tailor your application. You can highlight those skills that matter most.
So you don't waste your time applying for jobs where they're looking for something totally different?
Exactly.
I love it. It's like a secret weapon in the digital art job hunt.
It kind of is.
Okay.
Okay. So another thing that you really, really emphasize is, building a killer portfolio.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. It's crucial, right? Because it's not enough to just tell people that you're a great artist.
Right.
You got to, show them.
Yeah, your work needs to speak for itself.
Yeah.
But where do you even begin with that? I mean, how do you even start putting a portfolio together? Like, any advice from RoleCatcher, the pros on this?
Yeah. So they basically suggest treating your portfolio like it's a curated gallery of your best work.
Okay.
So you want to highlight those projects that really show off, your range, your technical skills, and that unique voice that you bring to the table, as an artist.
Right.
And then, Don't be afraid to play around with different platforms too, like whether that's a personal website, an online portfolio platform, social media even.
Yeah.
There are so many options.
So you've got your amazing portfolio. It's all polished. You're ready to go. And then comes that sometimes kind of scary part, the interview.
Yes.
Does RoleCatcher have any tips on how to absolutely crush that interview?
Oh, they do. Their interview prep section, it is amazing. They've got so many really insightful questions, like things that they hear all the time in digital art interviews.
Okay, like what? Give us the good stuff.
Okay, so one of the big ones is, how do you stay up to date with the latest digital art trends?
Right.
Which, makes sense, right? This is a constantly evolving field.
Right.
Another good one is, can you walk us through your creative process?
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, because it's not just about, can you use the software? It's about showing your passion, how you think, how you approach a problem.
Absolutely. And being prepared for those kinds of questions, that can make you stand out.
Huge difference.
Totally. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Anything else that RoleCatcher really wanted to stress before we wrap up?
There's this one question that they said they get asked a lot.
Okay.
And it's actually something that, I've been kind of pondering this whole time.
Ooh. Okay, hit me with it.
How is digital art actually different from traditional art forms?
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Right. At first, it seems like, oh, that's an easy one to answer.
Yeah.
But the more you think about it,
Right.
it gets kind of tricky.
It does, because
Yeah.
with technology changing so fast, those lines get blurrier all the time.
They do. They absolutely do. And, digital art tools, they offer this level of precision. And, you can manipulate things in a way that traditional mediums they can't really compete. But at the end of the day, whether it's pixels or paint, it's still about creativity.
Yeah.
Right? It's about expressing yourself through whatever medium you choose. And it's about evoking something in the person seeing it. That's art.
That's beautifully said. I love that. It really does seem like the very definition of what art is, it's changing right alongside the technology.
Yeah.
It's evolving.
It is. And who knows what's next?
Yeah.
Maybe in a few years, we'll be talking about holographic art installations.
Right.
Or virtual reality. I mean, the possibilities are they're endless.
Wow. This deep dive has been amazing. It's so clear that digital art, this isn't a fad.
Nope.
This is a vibrant, exciting field, and it's only going to get bigger.
It's true. And with platforms like RoleCatcher out there, giving people the tools, the resources to learn and to grow, there's really never been a better time to jump in.
Yeah, and to just explore.
Right, exactly.
So like you said earlier, it's all about having that artistic vision, but it's also about having the drive to really learn how to use these incredible tools that we have now.
Yes. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Try new things, push those boundaries. That's how amazing art gets made.
I love it. So to all you aspiring digital artists out there, keep creating, keep experimenting, and who knows, maybe we'll be featuring your work in a future deep dive. Thanks for joining us.